So one person we were working with, Humberto Maturana, a lot of them South America. Some of these are more open ideas. He was a Nobel laureate candidate, and one of his thing was that very nice meeting with him, very intelligent person, very nice. He said that Darwin was not a biologist, that Darwin was an economist. Okay. He said, if you look at it, we're starting off on the very simple levels of biology and everything else, different animals, one cell, amoeba, paramecium, going up. So you see the ones that do well and survive are not those who know how to kill everybody else off. Those that learn how to cooperate with others, even their enemies. Right? Cats in the modern world have a tough time because the amount of space a cat needs about maybe 3 houses. Yeah, that's like, they're like, okay, it's cool. And so they're always fighting with their neighbor. Your cat comes back with bite marks and all this stuff. So some cats figure out, you patrol in the evening, I will patrol in the morning, and I will urinate here and tell you what's going on. You can urinate there and tell me what's going on. You see that. There's a post, right? Everybody urinates on it and leaves a message. So we're a little more sophisticated. We got the 5 o'clock news or whatever it is. Urinate. But yeah, okay, yeah. So that you said that's what you see is that. So in the history of science, our thought it starts with Socrates, Alfred North Whitehead, who was Bertrand Russell's guru, said the safest way to characterize all of Western philosophy is to say the whole thing is a footnote to Socrates. So you study Socrates. Some very nice points. One thing that's very worth reading is the Phaedo, P-H-A-E-D-O, passage. That's the death dialogue, where he's like, another one is the trial where he was going around telling people that all this vanity and getting this prestige and becoming the son of this big father and he's a slave and all this kind of stuff, worshiping demigods with this kind of stuff. He was saying it's all not really worth it. You're going to die. All this kind of stuff. There's not ultimate satisfaction. Won't be happy. So basically, he was like a hippie. He would just sleep in the marketplace. His eyes were so far to the sides, he could actually see sideways. He was turning so ugly that chickens would run away when they saw him. But he was going around just he would eat whatever he could and invited the banquets. He was an anomaly. But all this, the children of the big aristocratic people were starting to follow him. But he got the hippies, right? Leaving all their inheritance and everything else. So he said, look, we've got to get rid of this guy. Let's charge him with irreligion. He's taking people away from the worship of the demigods. And what do you call it? The punishment for that is either death or he has to go away and promise never to come back. Okay? So we'll convict him of that and he'll have to promise to leave rather than die. So the trial is very interesting, seeing what he's arguing. And he was convicted. Okay. And he said, okay, I have to die. Well, no, you can just go away and promise not. No, I'm guilty. I should die. Oh, so he refused, to go away. Socrates. And these guys are freaking out again because now the guy wants to kill himself. So the Phaedo in this whole thing is very nice, very important because so many of all the arguments we use all over the world, the basic ideas are right there. He's there in the beginning of the Phaedo. He's talking to Antivirus and Eucrates. Get that as a joke, Antivirus. Talking to somebody's Greek name. And then the ladies are crying, everything else. It's very interesting. This is Socrates. Very interesting. Her, her complaints about stuff and everything else. Get a job. Very interesting. These things go on forever. So anyway, Socrates is there, and the ladies are crying. He says, send them home, take care of it. And then he's there with his students, and it's the last time, and they're supposed to take the hemlock, kill himself. And one of his disciples, what do the Romans do this? All the dramas. So anyway, he starts trying to break down, and Socrates said, look, I want to die in peace. Well, the ladies home now, you're going to start breaking down. What is it? He said, well, Socrates, we can just take you away from here still, and everything, and you won't have to do it. He said, why should I do that? He said, the real philosopher, the real yogi, the real religious person is also looking for a chance to get out of this mess. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, our guru, his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta said, this world is like a stool room, like a toilet. You do your business and you get out. You don't try and get the glasses and the look and the prestige and everything else in the toilet. It's like, hey, set up your house. You know. No, that's what Socrates is saying. The same thing. This place is not our home. You do your yoga, everything else, and get out and get back to your real life. In the Republic, he has a very, very famous analogy, which is the analogy of the cave. Yeah, very, very analogy. So everything's based on this. And he says there's a cave, telling you some. And some people are watching these like, shadow shows, and they're identifying with that person's television. They tell them, I'm him, these things are going on, and just absorbing these things. Finally, somehow or other, by chance, some person gets a little loose and he starts looking around and he sees that it's this lights behind them, projecting this on there. He begins to think, well, this is not really real. Starts to look at the people around him, really, this is absorbing the thing. Then he says he goes out, and he said in the beginning the light is so bright that you can't see anything. It's just you just realize, yeah, there is a real light and so on. Then you gradually become to the point where you can start to see things and so on. He said, oh, these are real people. This is real people. So that you try and go back in, people will try and chain you up, and it's an evolutionary. It's a typical, history of what yoga does, what religion is supposed to do. Today, in the Phaedo, they're going on, they're saying, well, Socrates, look, you want to die, you want to leave your body, but maybe there is no next life. Maybe when we die, we just finished. Like in the morning, the sun comes up and all the dewy right is gone. Are we online now? Oh, hello. This evolves like that, and so on. Well, Socrates said, well, look, you have, you go. And they say, the soul, maybe it's like you take a violin. A violin is made of nice wood, it's dry, and cat guts. That time they didn't have whatever. And he said, but out of it, you get the very, very fine stuff. So Socrates, maybe it's the same way. This body is put together and everything else, and the soul is just, because his argument is, how can all this fine stuff come out? Beauty, poetry, aesthetics, all this honor, dignity, how can it all come out of matter? And they say, well, look, you take a stuff matter, put it together, you get a violin, and beautiful stuff comes out. So this is an identical argument. DNA, RNA, it's the same thing. The life is evolved from matter, right? It's the same argument, whether you're using cat guts and wood or anything else. So Socrates says on page 3, he says, okay, it's a nice argument. And if I'm not a philosopher, you can't call me a philosopher unless I can show you and convince you that there's something wrong. And he said, what you're forgetting, 2 things. What's that? The violin maker and the person who's playing the violin. Oh, so it goes back and forth. And all the arguments you see going down through Kant, Nietzsche, everybody, they're all there. So almost all the arguments about the pre-existence of soul, nature, what happens when you die. He goes right into the 3 modes of nature. You die in the mode of goodness, you go here, die in the mode of ignorance. It's almost identical to Bhagavad Gita. And he said, but even if you live a very good life and everything else, ethical and moral, you still won't go to an eternal atmosphere unless you adopt philosophical principles. You've got to be something more than just good within this world. So he goes through all this stuff, and finally he asks his students, hey, any final questions, any arguments, or any doubts, or anything else? They're looking at each other, and they're saying, well, Socrates, in your presence, nobody can have any logical doubts. The soul is eternal. That's the purpose of any kind of philosophy, religion, yoga, science. And you'll realize that and get out of this place. He says, but we're like little children. Have you had this experience? You go visit your aunt or something, and they put you in the bed. And your mother shows you there's no monsters in the closet. There's no monsters under the bed. And they close the door. And he puts the covers over your head, right? Because the monsters can't get you the covers. Yeah, it's just, we're just like little children who are convinced of it, but yeah, there's something else to be convinced. That's what he's saying. There's information, okay, facts, karma. There's logic, jnana, perspectives, attitudes, grammar, mathematics. And there's jhana, which is meditation, where you actually come to the point where you can do this, you engage your mind like that to know things. And then logic and information just comes easily to get to that level with meditation. Then it says, finally, is passion, which is worship, love of God. spiritual relationship. Yeah. So talk with Socrates says, yeah, despite logic and reason, you can't come to that conclusion. He said you have to apply the words of the soothsayer, self-realized soul, every day. And there are quite a few of them within Greece and surrounding countries. So it's the same thing. Look at religion, you'll find the same descriptions like that. It has to come down to a source like that ultimately, and hearing people and their association, their realization. That's how. So, science, this is the theme, right? Science, yeah. What topic was? I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to the topic. So science and yoga, scientific basis of yoga. So science, as it's designed, basically deals with matter. And psychology is psychology. Is psychology a science? Are you a psychology major? That's a whole area. I mean, people will say, no, it's just harebrained ideas, whatever. The whole history of why physics became the normative science. The alchemists and the physicists were battling it out, and the alchemists lost. So physics became the normative science. And whatever you explain in chemistry has to be shown in terms of like sp3 orbitals and all this kind of stuff. And whatever you do in biology has to be shown in chemistry. You get on up there and go finally, theology. Yeah. So this is, the perspective that usually, I mean, science will say anything about science, whatever. But basically, yeah, it generally deals with, the subtle and gross forces and things that are basically rational empiricism. Rational empiricism. Direct knowledge for the senses and using some rational thought to expand it, which almost always is. That's science. And science, of course, is based upon peer-reviewed journals that people agree on the things that the universities say and what AAAS, establishes. It's a whole, so the scientific basis of yoga. Yeah, we can show it, but it only goes to a certain limit. Prabhupada says when he's talking about yoga, the real yoga that Patanjali is doing, and the Vedanta Sutras and all these things, real yoga. He said this as well as you have to go to so many levels. Usually, if you take a yoga course, they won't even talk about. They'll talk about yama and niyama a little bit. Don't drink coffee, get up early. These are the basic things you have to do and stuff. Requirements. Then after that, it goes into yama, niyama, asana. Asana. You're doing asana. Yoga teachers here? Yeah. Okay. I'll meet you next person. Yoga. Yeah. So you're doing asanas, no? Yeah. And then the purpose of the asanas is next to come to yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. But the asanas you start to learn, wow, this allows me to block. If I fold my legs under myself, yeah, it allows blood to go up. So you can get a biological basis, you can get a basis in terms of, neurophysiology. Yeah, you find it's actually working. Yeah. I mean, you can go into things like Alzheimer's or what's the other one, Parkinson's and so on. You find people that know how to stimulate their nervous system and stuff like that. Yeah. They hang in there a lot longer. They don't have to go on to endorphins in their bloodstream. So it has if you know what you're doing, it has a very, very good level. The do's and the don'ts, they're very good. Almost always vegetarian diet, always like that. And then it goes to what? Asanas, and a different, the Garuda asana. You that? Anyways, let's find this one, right? Yeah, and just stand up for 15 minutes. You can do that. Yeah. But Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, he said the most difficult yoga asana is the Dandavats. Like that. The most difficult of yoga asana is bowing down before authority. It's very rare that the yogis can do this. Because they all become so proud. I'm vegetarian, I'm flexible. I'm 80 years old and still, So yama, niyama, do's and don'ts, asana, pranayama, and it's usually about where you're going. But after that, after the prana is adjusted, maybe you're here, It's a madman coming. He's going to kill anybody who has an orange shirt on. Okay. So you stop smoking. Okay. Stop drinking. Okay. You start having wild parties late at night. Okay. You give up illicit sexual relationships and these things. Okay. And then what's the next one? Kachahara. Withdrawing. Withdraw from the senses. You're not, in the beginning when you start to know how to play the drum, you're not playing the drum is playing you. Because it's so stimulating, it's so good, it's just like, but yeah, then Kachahara, you learn how to, get out of your body. Now, no, not time for that. We should do this. So then your senses come under control. They're not dragging you around. Kachahara, and then dhyana. Then you start getting into the actual coming to the mind. And after you get out of the body, you come to the mind. Dalai Lama, program with him, he said people suffer from physical distress. But he said the psychological distress is so much greater. Because the psychological distress is people destroy their bodies. There's so many things to avoid it. And after the mind, then Patanjali says, you finally come to the point where yourself, which is like a disconnected finger. My brother-in-law, little kid, he got his arm chopped off in a lawnmower. He put a quick tourniquet on both sides, put in the guy's suede jacket, tossed some ice in, put it in 5 hours of surgery, he had it reconnected. And he had like 70%. And he had to pay off the debt for the next 15 years. So the guy got his arm back. That's what Patanjali says. We're all disconnected. You're uncomfortable. Who am I? What's going on? How do you everything else? Fear, anxiety. And when I go through this whole yoga, I become reconnected. His conclusion is a little different than other systems. And we say, yeah, we want to reconnect. But under his system, the limb only does what it's told. Our system is we realize we have free will, we have independent qualities, we can do things. Maybe small, but we can do real stuff. We can contribute something, right? And we can discover new qualities. So philosophically, different traditions in Asian philosophy, other philosophy. So scientific basis. So science, yeah, it takes maybe to some degree with tactile energy and these things a little bit. What modern science is extremely biased towards vision. And they want to see everything. That's seeing is believing. What the Vedas say, more subtle than that, is touch. Actually, touch is 3 times finer than vision. Yeah. And then hearing is even 3 times finer. So we're saying, yeah, the subtlest thing is sound. And so mantra. The mantra sound then stimulates the touch. First thing when there's certain thing you want to, that's why in the restaurant you pick out a certain kind of music. At noontime, the music in the restaurant is to get people to get in, pick their stuff up and walk out or sit down and eat quickly. If you want to do a good turnover and people want to get paid. The music in the evening in the restaurant is on Friday night. Yeah, you hang out, and you pay a lot more too, but it's just so that the music creates the atmosphere. Sound is the first element. How is the sound in this room? Quiet. Quiet? Yeah. How much echo is there? A little bit, not much. Not much. Yeah. We had a whole money for a troupe of dancers and everything else. Traveling many places, to Disney World, every place. So we go in, and it was a precision drum show. These guys were just precise. So they would go and they would go. For precision drum show, it has to be style. So sound's the first element. And so many places, there's so many things. And it's also this frost with the whole thing. Roof is killing you. And this whole place is a horrible place to see it this like, destroying your nation. So there's so many subtle aspects of the Vedic culture. Vastu is how you organize space. That architecture, all this, even the nations, the countries, Vastu Veda. Ayurveda is the science of longevity. It's not the science of curing diseases, it's the science of longevity. And this one more. Danda Veda. The king has the Danda, And so that's political science. If you're talking about whether we're going to drop it on Hiroshima or drop it in the ocean, it's science. People react. And what we're doing is specifically Gandharva Veda. Gandharvas are fairies. You all know about fairies? Anybody here ever see him? Yeah. Yeah. Who's Morgan Le Fay? Morgan Le Fay. Oh, Indy. Morgan Le Fay.
Like King Arthur for that story.
Yeah, she was the queen of the fairies. Okay, and of course we have Lord of the Rings, right? How many people have seen Lord of the Rings? You know, there's what we call orcs. He was taking that stuff from real traditions. The Gandharvas we directly identify as spirit. They're very, very good at music, dance, and drama. Gandharva Veda means all these things. So this is our yoga. You can become perfected in the Vedas by Vastu, organizing architecture. You feel everybody, as soon as you, a library with big high ceilings and beautiful lamps and tables, as soon as you go in there, you know, you know, you feel motivated and quiet to study. This place is like a killer. Yeah, you learn here. You can learn very mechanistic, things like that. So, yeah, yeah. So, well, our yoga is basically singing, and automatically dancing follows, and automatically drama. It's a whole tradition going back to the authority in the West is Aristotle. Socrates, great man, he established all these principles of drama in the West. And in India, as far as the moon, quite a difference in terms of what is drama. It's drama, yeah, movies, everything else, big business. So who are we? What is life? So anyway, it's kind of like science can only give us, science, yoga is scientific. It's good for your health, everything else. But as far as science goes, it has all these. When you start to get into psychology, and right away, on my mentors and everything else, they all said, yeah, if you want to understand psychology, head east. Carl Jung, we developed an entire program developing and investigating Carl Jung. Jungian psychology is the most advanced in the West. This stuff is still being published. They're editing. There are many nice areas of bringing together, Oriental and Occidental studies, and then help the world go out. So, boy, Krishna. Hay preguntas? For the yoga club? Yeah. Have more propaganda, more leafleting. Papa said, who will not go where there's good food and good music? You have good music? You need your programs. You can have we're talking academically, but also I think it's sponsored. You can sponsor programs, academic programs. It's not this year. If you start going out and providing different Indian music, Indian dance. Yeah. No, some of our disciples and students, we worked many money for it. One of our disciples, Subhadra Mahi, she was managing two teams at 18 years old at Hewlett Packard in Boise, Idaho, making $80,000 a year at 18 years old. And she said, forget it. She went back again and she studied Odissi? No, Oriya?
Odia?
Odissi. Yeah, Odissi dance. Teachers were these four, 70-year-old brahmacharinis. They never got married. They were tough. You had to show pain. But you can see, you see when she dances, you can see it's right away. The whole science doing somebody, right? Culture. Do you have any questions? How do you believe stuff, stress? Say mark on your forehead. Yeah. What is your good name?
My name is Sam.
Sam?
Yeah.
Samuel?
Yes. So my question is, how can we be less attached to the destination or outcome?
Yeah.
And be more in tune with the process and the present
moment. Because you realize they're connected.
The destination.
Yeah, they're connected. This process doesn't have any meaning really unless it's going to take us someplace. Walt Whitman, American, philosopher. He said life is a spiral. You know, I meet the same men, the same women, the same situations again and again, each time higher. But life is a spiral. And he said, where does it go? I don't know. It goes someplace. So he had this whole idea, but that was, you know, without the destination, it's just, you know, the process, you know, all of us, we want something. Well, you know, motivation in life is universal. Put your finger on an ant will struggle to survive. Even little ant. So this desire of something natural, we want happiness. We want happiness, but that goes with knowledge. Well, so many things. It's just our nature. Maybe it's not, okay, we're saying it is. You want to be happy and you want to know. So many things are just there and try to develop. You want to survive. Okay, so then in the process, you know, and then the process is showing me that it's going on. So yeah, so then I'm not, you know, the end justifies the means, right? That's one of the big things. So many big cultures, like, you know, kill off 640 million Jews if the conclusion is good. Well, yeah, but the other side of the coin is, yeah, the means will end up in the end, right? However, if you got to that end, it's going to be included in how you got there, right? So the goal is important, and the process is important, and the goal is in the process. Yeah, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So how many? Everybody here students? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any questions? I have a question. How many people here are studying for doctorates? Doctorate students, PhD students? Anybody? Yeah, okay. What does PhD mean? We have a lot of jokes about it. Huh? What does it literally mean? What does PhD mean? So Papa said in the modern world, what it means plow department. Issue. Yeah. What do you know? He said PhD. He said doctor. Doctor of philosophy. What does the word doctor mean? You can have this title, doctor, teacher, teacher. And philosophy, what is philosophy? So you're going to come out as a doctor, a teacher of philosophy, and come out of this. Right? Are you going to be a teacher of philosophy and come out of your, you know, your engineering degree? Philos, Philadelphia, means love. And actually, and Sophie means wisdom. The second year, you're a sophomore, right? Sophomoronis, moron. You're the second year you come back, hey, you know, I know it all, man. It's sophomoric ideas. So, doctor of philosophy means teacher of love, of wisdom. Is that what they're training you for? So when you graduate with your PhD, you'll be a teacher. You don't have to teach anything. All you got to do is teach people to love wisdom. It's very, you know. And then before that, you're master, Swami. And before that, you're bachelor, which is brahmachari. So it's the same origin. I mean, you see in education that people are fighting for this, becoming a trade school. All we're doing is training people just to go out and become servants of the military industrial complex. That's all we're doing. They get out and they can work in the military. You know, some people are fighting. Be a university person should have a university. You should know why to do this. You should know what to say no. I'm not going to show you how to do that. You want to do it for a bad purpose. Like, yes. Okay? Okay. So again, maybe we'll stop here. It's been very, very nice being here. Now I'll turn control of our program over to our sponsor. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Read the title.
All right, so thank you so much, Mark, for coming. Actually, it took a lot of time out for us. So can we get another round of applause? Alrighty, so just a couple of housekeeping rules. So we haven't done check-in yet, so we're planning on doing that before you get food. So Sheree is gonna have her laptop for us. She's gonna have her laptop and check in or like sign in. And if you haven't, that's you too. We're gonna add your name and your email so you can get our emails and things like that. We would prefer if you guys could check in before Friday at 12 p.m. That would be
I couldn't figure out how to record it.
No?
On Zoom, there should be a way of recording on Zoom. You're on Zoom. Yeah, I was on Zoom. The record button was there. It said recording was disabled. So who was the administrator of it? I have no idea. The administrators only has to enable. Has to enable it. Okay. So unfortunately, so if it's not recorded, then it's just like live. That's it. So it's done. So, one and done. So many people want to see it. You know? Okay, so I'll just leave then because it's no use to.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Mataji Nam. So thank you so much for joining today's session. Maharaji is log out, so we have to wind up our call here. Thank you so much once again. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Hanmat Tiksha Swami Maharaji ki jai. Panchakaltaru Vasha Kapasindu Bhai Vacha Patita Nam Pagni Bhyo Vishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Samast Koti